وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. Dear viewers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, and a warm welcome to today's religious dialogue. Today, inshallah, we will continue the discussion about preparing for the final abode. In the previous episode, we have discussed the moment of death and how we can prepare for that moment. Today, we will, inshallah, continue the discussion with the stages after death. Joining me for the discussion a bit later on, we will be joined, inshallah, by Hujjatul Islam wal Muslimin, Samahat Sayyid Muhammad Radawi. But at the moment, we are joined by Hujjatul Islam wal Muslimin, Shaykh Hayder Shirazi, who will inshallah shed more light on these matters. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Thank you for having me.
Of course, today is also the martyrdom anniversary of our ninth Holy Imam, Imam Muhammad, son of Ali al-Jawad, alayhi salam. Shaykh, could you tell us a bit more about his life and what lessons we can learn from his holy life?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Imam Jawad alayhi salatu wassalam is the ninth Imam, and also he is the youngest of the A'imma, also known as Shababul-A'imma wa Jawaduha. That he is the youngest of the Imams, meaning that at a very young age he was divinely appointed as the Imam after the Shahadat of Imam Riza alayhi salam, and he was 9 years old. And also his Shahadat takes place at a very young age, and that is 25 years he was when he got martyred, he got killed by the rulers of his time. Born on the 10th of Rajab, Shahadat is on the 29th of Zilqa'dah. Duration of the Imam's Imamat is 17 years. Appointed as an Imam officially, divinely, at the age of 9. Shahadat is at the age of 25. And is among the Imam who was killed by his own wife. Now, Imam alayhi salatu wasalam, despite this young age, and for us, age doesn't matter when it comes to the concept of Risalat, Nubuwwat, Imamat, age doesn't matter. Imam al-Asr alayhi salam is appointed divinely at the age of 5. Prophet Isa alayhi salam on birth, he speaks and he says, Ja'alani Nabiyya, that is, Allah has made me a Nabi. And he speaks while he's still an infant. So all these, age doesn't matter when it comes to the concept of Risalat, Imamat, Nubuwwat. Imam Jawad alayhi salatu wasalam, when one of the statements that he has, he says, Kafaka adaban li nafsika ijtinabu ma takrahuhu li ghayrik. Means that this is sufficient to educate yourself, that you refrain from all that you dislike for others. Again, we've got numerous statements from the Imam alayhi salam. One of the other statements says that Al-Mu'min yahtaju ila thalasi khisalin. A mu'min, he requires 3 qualities. Tawfiqun min Allah, a tawfiq, an opportunity from the Almighty Allah. Wa wa'izatin min nafsih, and he needs a mentor from within who constantly advises him. And wa qabulan mimman yansahuhu, and he also accepts the advice of whoever gives him an advice. So these 3 qualities are very important, that if someone tells us and we see a flaw in us and there is room to learn and educate, we have to accept it. This is among the teachings that we have from Imam Jawad alayhi salatu wasalam. Now, one of the other du'as that is famous and everyone knows from the Imam alayhi salam is known as the Hirz Imam Jawad alayhi salam. Hirz means a protection. And Imam, he says that guard yourself with this dua, and if you are encountered by armies of enemies, you can repel them all, you can protect yourself, you can guard yourself with this little dua, which is just 4 sentences. And it's the famous Hirze Imam Jawad alayhi salam. You can drive away balas, trials, afflictions, as huge as the skies and the earth with this dua. It is recommended a lot and emphasized by the Ma'asumin and all the practicing ulama. It's a protection for you from all evil from among the man and jinn. It nullifies all magics and spells. It is a protection from being cheated, from being deceived, from every kind of animosity. So, one of the ways how you can guard yourself is by reciting this hairs or keeping this hairs with you. Now, generally, people have it in the form of a ring, they have it, they wear it with them, or they carry it with them. Now, the more effective is to recite it yourself. It's just 4 sentences. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Ya Nuru Ya Burhan. Ya Mubinu Ya Munir. Ya Rab ikfin shurur wa afat duhur wa as'aluka najata yawma yunfakhu fis sur. That's the all 4 sentences. It means, O light, that is Ya Nur, the Almighty Allah. Ya Burhan, and He is the evidence. Ya Mubin, O manifest reality. Ya Munir, O illuminant. Ya Rab, ikfin shurur, O Lord, suffice me from all evil. Wa afat duhur, and all outbreaks of the day. Wa as'aluka najata yawma yunfakhu fis sur, and I ask you for your deliverance on the day when the horn will be blown, that is the day of judgment. So it is a small dua, protection in this world and also in the hereafter. Keep it with you, carry it with you, recite it, and then again, there's another connection we get by reciting these small duas, that the bond that we have with the Imam, it strengthens, that we are reminded that this is something that was taught to us by the Imam alayhi salam.
Thank you for reminding us about Hirza Imam al-Jawad. I have heard that Hirza Imam al-Jawad has to be written on a particular type of skin. Is that important, or can it be written on any paper? Where can people get hold of the rings that you mentioned?
Yeah, like every other dua, amal, and action, there are ways to do it for the maximum benefit. That what you just mentioned has also been reported in the books of du'as and Mafatihul Janan. That is for the maximum benefit. Now we can't get to those maximum nowadays, so we just suffice to whatever is over the counter on the shelf. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, thank you for sharing the words of the Holy Imam, which require much reflection. Let us now, inshallah, discuss our topic, preparing for the final abode. We've discussed death, in which you reminded us about the mustahabbat and actions that should be uh, that should happen and we should do at the time when a loved one is passing away. Now, what needs to be reminded to the person who is passing away, Sheikh Hayder? Is there anything special that we need to say to the person when they are passing away?
Yeah. Now, before we come to that part, just to let you know that the soul that we have, it has been created forever. In Quran, on and off, repeatedly, we do have this term khulud, hum fiha khalidun, that is, they will abide there forever. So this khulud, or this eternity, is either in the hell or the heaven. Either it's going to be a punishment or a reward. So the soul that has been given to us. Now here in this world, we've got two existences. One is the material existence, which is my body. The other is my spiritual dimension or existence, which is my soul. So the soul needs a body in which it is carried. And when we die in this world, the soul is still alive. It needs to be transferred to another vessel, to another body. And the body that will be given to us when we die, it's much more sophisticated, thousands of times more sophisticated than what this human body is. This human body, it's very restricted, very limited. We can't breathe after a certain point. We heat and cold also we cannot bear. We cannot see more than what we can see. Beyond that, it doesn't mean there isn't anything. For example, the colors we see 7 colors. But is that the fact and the reality? There are other beings, other creatures that see more colors. So it means that there is much more, but we are limited and restricted. The body, the vessel that will be given to us in Barzakh is much more sophisticated, and it will travel much faster, much higher. And then over there, these temperatures, they don't matter, etc., etc. So the life is eternal. Eternity is there. Soul has been created forever. Now we have to guard ourselves that we benefit and we are rewarded and we stay comfortable in the ongoing life. Now, when we see into the seerah and the life of the ulama, one of our famous ulama is Marhum Allama Tabatabai, the author of Tafsirul Mizan. Now, when he was conducting his durus and lessons on tafsir, when he was talking, in the middle of his speech, he used to have a little break, just to pause, to breathe. Now, within that little pause that he had in that breath, he used to say something. One of the students who was sitting next to him, near him, he says that, Ustad, whenever you pause, whenever you take a break and breathe, what do you say? He says, a recital, a zikr. Says, why? Then he says, Abad dar pish darim. We have an eternity ahead of us, and for that eternity, we need a lot of sustenance, we need a lot of rizq, we need a lot of fuel. So, all these azkar that we do, we perform, we recite, they are a top up to the eternity that we have and the amal that we do. So, that we have to make the best. Now, all these are lessons to ourselves that we learn from these great personalities, that for that eternity ahead we have to work. Now, when we look into the statements of Ma'asumin alayhimus salam, grave, it is the first station. After grave also there are many, many stops and stations, each one more scarier than the other. Grave is the easiest one that we see and we find in the teachings and statements of Ma'asumin. Says that Ana Baytul Ghurba. أنا بيت الغربة وأنا بيت الوحشة أنا بيت الدود. Every day, this grave of ours, it calls out, although we don't hear, but all these are facts and realities. The grave says, أنا بيت الغربة, I am the house of loneliness. I am the home of fear, and I am the home of worms. أنا بيت الدود. So the first, most scariest station that we have ahead, a horror of the grave. Now, when the body is brought to the grave, the teaching is that we don't quickly bury the body immediately. The adab that is taught to us from the Ma'sumin alayhim salam is, you have 3 stops. You lower the body near the grave, and the third stop is in the grave. That is, slowly the body has to get used to the grave, and then we bury. So, Marhum Majlisi, now we have uh, a lot of teachings over here, a lot of sayings. Marhum Majlisi, he says, although the body has been departed from the body, the soul has been departed from the body, but the connection of the body is not totally lost. We do have statements and sayings, ahadith, that say even 3 days after the demise of a person, the hearing is still active. Wheresoever some conversation be held and uttered, the person who has died, he hears. He is totally aware. He is what's happening. We have a dua in Sahifa Sajjadiyah. I think it's dua number 44 or 43. There the Imam alayhi salam, he sends salawat and salutations on each one of the angels. He mentions, now generally the angels that we know are Israfil and Israel and Mikael, some of the angels. But when you look into this dua of Imam, you've got many, many angels that have been mentioned, and Imam, he recites salawat and salutations on each one of them. So, And there in that dua, it starts, Kana min du'ahi alayhi salam fi salati ala hamalat al-arsh wa kulli malakin muqarrab. So salutations of the Imam on the near angels and all and the angels who carry the throne of the Almighty Allah. Now in that dua, the opening, I think the first second sentence of that dua, it says, وَالسَّفَرَةِ الْكِرَامِ الْبَرَرَةِ, that is, salutations be upon all of the envoys and ambassadors, the noble ambassadors of the Almighty Allah. وَالْحَفَظَةِ الْكِرَامِ وَمَلَكِ الْمَوْتِ وَأَعْوَانِهِ, and all of the angels, the helpers, and also the angel of death, Malakul Maut, وَأَعْوَانِهِ, his helpers, وَمُنْكَرٍ وَنَكِيرٍ, and then salutations be upon Munkar and Nakir. And then Imam says, وَرُومَانَ فَتَّانِ الْقُبُورِ. Now, Ruman Fattan al-Qubur is another angel. And then, وَالطَّائِفِينَ بِالْبَيْتِ الْمَعْمُورِ, and all the angels who are performing tawaf around the holy house of Kaaba. And Imam continues with salawat to all of them. Now, Ruman Fattan al-Qubur that we have over here in this dua. First, we have Munkar and Nakir. Munkar and Nakir are the two angels who will be questioning us in the grave. Now, if you recall your memories in the du'as that we recited in the month of Rajab, there we ask Allah to وَأَرَيْنِي مُبَشِّرًا وَبَشِيرًا. That is, Allah, send Bashir and Mubashir to us, not Munkir and Nakir. Munkir and Nakir are for the general public, general audience. Bashir and Mubashir are the two angels who come and give you glad tidings right from the start. So that is the dua that we have in Rajab. Now, Munkir and Nakir, it is our aqidah, it is our faith that they will definitely come, they will definitely inquire. But when you have this dua that you want an upgraded version of the angels as well, so Bashir and Mubashir will be sent to you as you desired, as you wished and you wanted. Now in this dua we had Ruman. Ruman, and the ahadith that we have from Rasulullah, Ruman is also mentioned. Fattan al-Qubur is also mentioned. Fattan al-Qubur means the tester in the grave. Ruman, Fattan has also been mentioned. In this dua it is Ruman, Fattan al-Qubur. Now, what is the job of Ruman, Fattan al-Qubur? When someone is laid in his grave, the first angel to come is Ruman. He comes and he does the initial check. Now, when we go to hotels, we have a booking, we just show our ID and he just check and see, yeah, we have got a booking here. So this Ruman also does the initial check. Check whether we and see and ask the basic questions about our deen and what we have done. And based upon the answers we give to Ruman Fattan, Munkir and Nakir or Bashir and Mubashir will be sent. Now, Munkir and Nakir, they will appear in a good form or in a devastated, horrible form, depending on what report Ruman, Fattan al-Qubur he gives, and based on that, the next batch of angels, they arrive. Now we have statements from Ma'asumin alayhi salam in one of the riwayat that we have from Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam. Now we have Talqeen that is recited twice. Talqeen is a reminder of faith. We recite it twice, once when the body is laid in the grave before it is closed, and the second one when the grave has been closed and the near relatives, they are requested to be and when the talqeen, the reminder, is recited for the second time. Hadith from Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam says that the moment Munkir and Nakir, they come to start questioning in the grave, they say to one another, let's go. They say, we haven't asked him. No, we don't need to ask him. قَدْ لُقِّنَ حُجَّتُهُ. He has just been reminded. Twice he's been reminded. He's going to answer all the questions, so there's no point in asking, let's go. That is that height of optimism or hope that we have in the existence of Allah, that how beautiful He has made everything, the transfer into this world, the transfer from this world the hope that we get from the teachings of the A'imma alayhimus salam, it's beyond magnificent. So now what we have over here now, this is something that we have in Quran mentioned quite a few times. One of the ayat says that وَكُلَّ إِنسَانٍ أَلْزَمْنَاهُ طَائِرَهُ فِي عُنُقِهِ وَنُخْرِجُ لَهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ كِتَابًا يَلْقَاهُ مَنْشُورًا. That on the day of judgment you'll find that everyone has got his own action report. It is hanging on his neck. Now what happens over here is that when we are dying and departing from this dunya, like a video clip, the entire life of mine, from the day I was born until this day that I am departing, is shown to me like a very fast video clip that I've done, I've lived, and now it is said to me, it's you. And I cannot deny over here. I'll say, yes, it is me. It was me, my actions, my birth, my demise from this dunya, and everything is evident. Now, the angels who will be showing this clip to me, they would say, okay, now sign it, seal it. I will say that I don't have a pen to sign. The angels say, your finger will be your pen, your saliva will be the ink. Just sign it so that you don't deny on the day of judgment that it wasn't you. وَكُلَّ إِنسَانٍ أَلْزَمْنَاهُ طَائِرَهُ فِي عُنُقِهِ. طَائِرَهُ فِي عُنُقِهِ, that the action report will be clung to the neck. وَنُخْرِجُ لَهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ كِتَابًا يَلْقَاهُ مَنْشُورًا. Now again, another ayah says that اقرأ كتابك كفى بنفسك اليوم عليك حسيبا. Read your book. Your own self is sufficient as a reckoner against you this day. So we cannot deny over there, and everything has been signed by myself. And here I have testified that I am the actions belong to me, and it is a report of my own actions. Now, what are the actions? What is going to help? Now, when we look into the statements of Ma'asumin, here Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, one of his companions is Bara bin Azib, among the companions of Rasulullah. He says that we were with the Prophet and it was a congregation. He inquired that, why have you all gathered over here? They answered that we are digging a grave. The Prophet, he ran towards Bara and then he sat by the grave. He cried a lot. And then he says, Ikhwani limithli hadha fa'a'iddu. Brothers, prepare yourself for this grave. Prepare yourself. Avail this grave for yourself. Now when we see Qutb Rawandi among the ulama that we have, he says this hadith, and he says Prophet Isa, he called his mother Maryam after she had passed away. And then a connection is created between Hazrat Maryam and Prophet Isa alayhi salam. Prophet Isa, he says to his mother, now he's famous because he used to give life to the dead, and then he used to give hearing to the deaf, sight to the... So all these miracles were performed by Prophet Isa, and also giving life to death. Prophet Isa says to Mother Maryam that, do you want to return to this dunya, mother? She says, yes. And then says, why do you want to come? She says, my son, the way ahead is very tough and very scary. I want to return so that I could worship on a cold, chilly night, so that I can avail something for my afterlife. So things that help in easing the way ahead are prayers. Things that help are fasting. Everything that Rasulullah has said, everything that Aimma have taught us are the things that will help us in the afterlife from here. Now, the question that you asked, what is beneficial and what is the reminder of faith, and what do we do and what do we remind the person who is on the deathbed? Asking him to repeat after you, La ilaha illallah al-malikul haqqul mubin. It's one of those uh, powerful recitals that will help us. And it is mentioned that we keep on repeating this recital as much as you can. La ilaha illallah, we do it. La ilaha illallahul malikul haqqul mubin. Every day when we do this, it is a protection for us, for our grave, protection from poverty, protection from the horrors in the grave that we have. One of the other things that helps is reciting Surat Yasin, Suratul Mulk. All these are very powerful prescriptions that we have from Ma'sumin alayhi wasallam. Now, what I've seen and heard over here a lot is people, they just play these surahs on YouTube, on social media, and they think they're doing the job. Now, it may have an effect, but it is not that effective. We have to recite it. We have to make the person on the deathbed repeat after us. So we have to make him do it. So things have to be recited, things have to be reminded.
So just
Yeah.
playing these audios is not enough. We have to make an effort into reciting it physically whilst next to the deceased person. Is that
Yes.
is I understood you correctly?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Just playing the media, the multimedia, or that media player. It may have an effect, but truly speaking, we have to understand. When we see the talqeen, also we say isma ifham. We started with listen and understand. That is, you listen, you understand. Now we have to make him listen, make him understand. Now to understand this a little bit better, I'll quote you an incident from Marhum Ayatullah Sayyid Jamal Gulpaigani, one of those great ulama, one of the great urafa. He says that he was in the graveyard reciting a Fatiha on his Ustad's grave. There was a congregation, there was a burial, a body was brought, and they come and say to Sayyid, can you come and recite the talqeen? He says, okay, I'll come. Comes there by the grave, it's a young lad who has died, and he enters the grave, starts reciting the talqeen, Isma Ifham. He says the moment he said Isma Ifham, the boy in the grave, he starts mocking and laughing and doesn't, he said, I don't hear and I don't understand. Once, twice, three times. Now he's someone who has access to Barzakh and beyond, and he can see the realities and the haqa'iq in this creation. There he says that there is a lady who is crying a lot, and there is another gentleman, an old man, he's also crying a lot, but he is very much reserved. So he understood that it is the father and the mother. Comes to the mother, says, who are you? She says, I am the mother. I just wanted to recite the Ziyarat Ashura before the grave is closed. He says, are you happy with your son? He says, yeah. She says, yes, I'm okay with him. And then comes to the father, says to the father, it's your son's burial. Are you happy with him? Are you razi with him? He says he was a good boy when it comes to worshipping the Almighty and all the. He was very smart, very brilliant, but he used to mock me in front of everyone because I was an illiterate person and I'm an illiterate person. He studied and he was well versed, and when in majalis, in meetings, when people, they used to ask something, and the moment I wanted to answer, he used to say in front of everyone, you don't know, you are illiterate, and he used to mock me like that. And that broke my heart every time. That was the only flaw he had, that he used to speak to me like that in public. Now here, Ayatollah Jamal Gulpaigani says this is no time for all these grievances. He is in a tough state. He is in a very difficult position and he is not responding to the aqaid. And he says, I don't understand and I don't hear. He says to the father, forgive him. The father was a very dignified person. He says, okay, for his well-being, and as you say, I also forgive my son. He comes and they were closing the grave. He says, stop. And he enters the grave, says, Isma Ifham, listen and understand. The boy says, yes, I can listen, I can hear you, and I do understand. He recites the talqeen, the reminder of faith, mentions all of the imams and the belief in the day of judgment, munkir and nakir and all the actions, etc. And once he had done, he says, Amirul Mu'mineen, he entered the grave and he says, Sayyid, you've done your task. Rest is my duty. I'll take him on board. He comes out of the grave happy and satisfied that another person has departed on Iman. But these things, they do happen. We have to, now we do, when we look into the statements of Ma'asumeen alayhimus salam, Rasulullah, he says, Al-Qabr rawdatun min riyad al-Jannah aw hufratun min hufar al-Niran. That is, a grave is either a garden from among the gardens of the paradise or a pit from among the pits of fire. So, Dhaghtatul Qabr or Fishar Qabr or the pressure in the grave is something that is a haq, that is fact, and it is certain, it is definite. Even the best of the companions, they were afraid of this. Ma'asumeen alayhimus salam, similar. Hazrat Maryam, in this statement, she says, yes, the way ahead is scary, we need help, and the help can be sought with all of these actions that we have to perform.
Sure. Sheikh, we are down to our last 15 minutes of the program now. What you have said so far to us alludes to that the deceased, even after they have passed away and their bodies have become still, can hear us and understand us. Yet in modern science, for example, atheists and people who do not believe in God believe that death is the end. Yet you allude to something different. How how can you what is the proof that the dead can hear and can understand us? What does the Quran say about this matter?
Now, this all turns back to the fundamentals that we have. An ayah, I think many a times in Quran it has been mentioned that do you think that khalaqnakum abathan? That is, do you think that we've just created you for no reason? There is a wisdom in creation. We have been created for a purpose. It isn't as such that everything just came into existence without any reason, without any wisdom. There is wisdom. We've been created for a purpose. And the reason why people they deny or this atheism that has come in place, it did exist even at that time in the early days, but now it's in a very defined or a very fancy presentation. It is being presented that people they were atheist even then. Now here the reason why they come up with this faith and this understanding that there is nothing that by the death everything comes to an end. It's Surah Al-Qiyamah. بل يريد الإنسان ليفجر أمامه يقول أيان يوم القيامة. Says man, he wants to sin, he wants to live a life as he wishes, as he desires. So if he has a mindset that there is a life, there is an action, or the a'mal, they have to be presented before someone, with that mindset, I can't sin. So if I deny the day of judgment, means that it's going to be a license and a permit for me to do whatever I want. بل يريد الإنسان ليفجر أمامه يقول أيان يوم القيامة. That man, he wants to sin in his life. He wants to be free. He wants to do whatever he wants. So when he denies the day of judgment, then it becomes a permit for him to do whatever he wants. يريد الإنسان, and then he denies the day of judgment. So,
Thank you.
yeah, yes.
Before I move on to the next question, which is about the benefits of talqeen, you mentioned one obstacle that prevents us from dying peacefully, and that is عقوق الوالدين. You know, uh, having bad relationships with our parents. Are there any other obstacles as well that the Masumeen have mentioned, or real life examples from the Ulema stories that prevent us from dying peacefully?
Gossip is among those things that is a hindrance. Ill treating the family, not helping the fellow mu'mineen, fellow humanity, wasting, israf, backbiting, taking prayers easy, disregarding those who are weak and vulnerable. For prayers, we've got a lot. Now, even not observing taharat, that people when they use the washrooms and they don't clean themselves, and taharat is not observed. All these become an obstacle in a difficult life ahead. So yeah, we do have for being trapped in a turbulent grave also. Imam as-Sadiq alayhi salam, he also has many teachings over here, that when the moment he enters his grave, prayers they come from the right, zakat from the left, goodness that he had done in his life, it shelters him, patience escorts him from a side, and because it's a loneliness and alienation from everything, there is no one with me, no acquaintance whatsoever. Even Hazrat Fatima alayha salam, she in her wasiyah to Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, she says that, Ya Ali, I want you to sit by my head in my grave, recite Quran and du'as a lot, because of that horror and the alienation or loneliness in the grave. So the Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says that this goodness that you've done, your prayers, your zakat, your fast, your patience and all that, all of them, they will escort you and they will be with you as your permanent companions in your grave. So perfecting ruku, not performing ruku properly also becomes a hindrance over there. Imam Baqir alayhi salam, he emphasizes that someone who perfects and performs his ruku elegantly has no wahshat in his grave, no fear in his grave, helping mu'mineen, that will be a means of an easy onward transfer. Performing Hajj at least 4 times, Imam Sadiq says one who has performed Hajj for 4 times is protected from a violent grave, or the good that we do or we have done to our relatives and that we leave behind, that also becomes a means of a comfortable grave. Ziyarat of Abu Abdullah al-Hussain alayhi salam, that also plays an important role. Fasting at least 4 days in the month of Rajab or 12 days in the month of Sha'ban, all these they have a very good effect in our onward transfer. So we talked about the yeah, okay.
Thank you for the explanation. I was just going to remind the dear viewers to tune in next week, inshallah, for the next episode of the final Abode, part 3, where the Shaykh will, inshallah, discuss the journey of Barzakh once we are in the grave and beyond. But for my last question and the last time that we have, Shaykh, um, oftentimes when the deceased, we reach the graveyard, we see the Maulana goes down into the grave and starts saying something to the deceased, and it's called talqeen. What does he say to the deceased, and what are the benefits of this talqeen?
How much time do I have?
We have the last 10 minutes.
Okay, now talqeen, it's a reminder of faith. It is recommended that you recite once when the body has been laid, and then the second when the body and then the grave has been closed. We say Isma, ifham, listen and understand, and then we name the person and his father's name. And then we say, هل أنت على العهد الذي فارقتنا عليه من شهادة أن لا إله إلا الله? Are you on that covenant that you lived? And what was that? That agreement that you had with the Almighty, that is, there is no God, the shahadat that you recited, La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah, wa anna Muhammadan sallallahu alayhi wa alihi abduhu wa rasuluh. So your testimony in the oneness of Allah, your faith and your belief in the risalat of Rasulullah, are you still on it? That is the first thing that we say. Now then we say, who is the Prophet? Sayyidun Nabiyyin. He is the chief of all the prophets. Khatamul Mursaleen, the seal of all the prophets, the last of all the prophets. So we are reminding him that we believe in the one God, we believe in the prophethood, that is 124,000 prophets were sent by the Almighty, and Rasulullah is the last of them. And then we remind the marhum, وَإِمَامٌ افْتَرَضَ اللَّهُ طَاعَتَهُ عَلَى الْعَالَمِينَ. We believe in Amirul Mu'mineen. He is the chief of all the awsiya and the imams. And he is the imam who Allah has made it mandatory on us to be obedient to him. And then we start mentioning the names of the imams, وَأَنَّ الْحَسَنَ وَالْحُسَيْنَ. And then we say Muhammad ibn Ali, wa Ja'far ibn Muhammad, wa Musa ibn Ja'far, wa Ali ibn Musa, wa Muhammad ibn Ali, wa Ali ibn Muhammad, wa Hasan ibn Ali, wa Al-Khalaf al-Hadi al-Mahdi are the imams that we have. So mentioning the names of all the 12 imams over here. Now, one of the other beautiful things that we see in this talqeen is when we mention the names of the imams, there we say Amirul Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib, Hasan ibn Ali, and then we say Ja'far ibn Ali, Musa ibn Ja'far. When the name of Imam Hussain is mentioned to that marhum, it's not just Hussain ibn Ali like it was Hasan ibn Ali. Here we say to him, Wal Hussain ibn Ali ash-shaheed bi Karbala imami. Which Hussain? The one who was martyred in Karbala. That even this marhum who has died, he has to enter officially into Barzakh with a tear in his eye and mentioning the masa'ib of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. So the names of the imams are mentioned, and then the name of Imam Mahdi alayhi salam is mentioned. All of the imams are reminded to this marhum. And then we come to this, now this was Tawheed, and then Adl and Nabuwa, Imamat, final is Qiyamah. So Qiyamah, it starts from death. That is, once this person has died, he has officially entered the Qiyamah. إِذَا أَتَاكَ الْمَلَكَانَ الْمُقَرَّبَانِ. That is when the two angels, they will come to you. Who are these two angels? رَسُولَيْن مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ. The envoys and ambassadors from the Almighty Allah, and they will ask you about your Lord, about your Prophet, about your religion, about your book, about your Qibla, about your Imams. We say to him, do not fear, do not worry. Respond to them and say, Allah Jalla Jalaluhu Rabbi, Allah is my Lord. Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi wa alihi wasallam is my Rasul. Amirul Mu'mineen is my Imam, and all the 12 Imams are my Imams, and I have faith in them, and I believe in them, and I am firm with this belief that I had. And then we tell him, Thumma alam. We tell the marhum in the grave, know and understand. We name him again, his father's name, Inna Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala ni'mar Rabb. Allah, He is the best of Lords. Now this is something that we repeat at least 10 times every day when we say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, in the name of Allah, the merciful, the compassionate. That is, He is the best of Lords. Wa anna Muhammadan sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi ni'mar Rasul, and that Muhammad is the best of prophets. And Imam Ali alayhi salam and his sons are the best of Imams. And annama ja'a bihi Muhammad, and that what he brought forth, that is Rasulullah, is right, is haq, that is the religion that he brought forth, the qibla that I have faith in, the book that is Quran that I believe in. All of this, the entire package I accept. Wa anna al-mawta haqqun, and that death is also haq. The questioning in the grave by Munkar and Nakir is also haq. The raising on the day of judgment from the grave is also haq. The presentation of my actions and a'mal is also haq. The balance, the scale of balance, inshallah, we'll talk about this in the next session, and the mizan and sirat and all that. وَأَنَّ الْجَنَّةَ حَقٌّ وَأَنَّ النَّارَ حَقٌّ. The hell and the heaven is all true, it's all haq. And the day of judgment, then when the horn will be blown, and everyone who was living will be killed, and the second horn will be blown, and everyone will be brought into life. All of that is haq. And then we say, Afahimta, did you understand? And then says, Thabbataka Allah bil qawl thabit, may Allah fortify you or strengthen you on this word. وَهَدَاكَ اللَّهُ إِلَى صِرَاطٍ مُسْتَقِيمٍ. May Allah guide you to the right path. And then we pray for the well-being of the soul. May Allah elevate his ranks to the highest of ranks. وَلَقِّنْهِ مِنْكَ بُرْهَانًا. And that Allah, he unites him with his argument. And then we say, Allahumma afwak, afwak, afwak. Allah forgive him, your forgiveness, your forgiveness, your forgiveness. So it's a beautiful procedure that how we handle this deceased and how we send him to his onward journey in such a dignified and a beautiful way.
Definitely. In the last 3 minutes, there is a question from I've just said that's come to my mind. Do you agree that there is talqeen that we can do during our lifetimes in the form of dua al-asharat? If you can tell the viewers about that. And also, you mentioned in the talqeen, one of the statements is to remind the deceased that Allah is the best of Lords. The question arises from this then, why should we be afraid of Allah, and why Allah's mercy is so vast? Why should we not just live how we want and count on the mercy of Allah?
Yeah, well, it's in 3 minutes. It's going to be very difficult. Now, Allah, He is not scary. I mean, the status or the rank that he is in, that rank is scary. Now, for example, when you go to the courtroom to the judge himself is not scary, but it's the position that he is in. If he wants, he can punish you. He can penalize. He can give you a penalty, some big ticket to pay, because of the rank that he is in. The same thing is with the Almighty Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. The rank that Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala He is on, He is the judge, He is the creator, He is the king, He is the master. If He wants, He can do whatever He wants. That rank is the scary rank, not the Almighty Allah. He is loving, He is caring, He is Rahman, He is Rahim, He is Ni'mar Rabb in the final statement, closing remark that we have in this talqeen. So that
But
rank
he is also
is, he is always merciful, and he says that ana arhamu, that is, I'm much more merciful to you than your own very mother. That is, I'm so kind and so gracious to you than your own mother.
but he is also just, and it is our actions, I suppose, that should scare us, not, as you mentioned, Allah Himself.
Yeah, Allah is not scary. It's the actions that we have. Our actions are scary, and the rank that he is on, that rank is also scary. The maqam, yeah, the maqam that he is in. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Would you like to mention anything about Dua al-Asharat, Shaykh, and remind
Yeah.
the viewers what?
Okay, now one of the other things is that we believe that Allah, He is Ameen, He is trustworthy, you can trust Him. Meaning that if you give something to the Almighty, He will return it to you when you are in need. Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, he says that if Shimr, he comes and he gives me the sword with which he killed my father Hussain as an amana, and then later he comes and asks me for that sword, I'll give it back to him because that was an amana that was given to me. Now, what we can do is that dua asharat, dua adila that we have, all these are duas that we can recite. Now, we don't know what our end is going to be, whether there is going to be someone to recite these duas for me, remind me at my bedside. Here, what I do is that before I die, I recite this dua and I surrender and submit it and upload it to the Almighty. That this is my aqidah, this is my faith, O Lord, and I want you to return it to me when I will be in need. And Allah, He is trustworthy, He is Ameen, and He will definitely honor your word and He will definitely give it to you. So we can recite it, and the same statement is seen in the end of Dua Adila, Allahumma inni astawdi'uka. That is, Allah, I surrender this aqidah of mine, that is the reminder of faith that I just recited now to you. Return it to me when I will be in need, and He will definitely do it for you. So Dua Asharat is the same, Dua Adila is the same, reminder of this talqeen is the same. Yeah.
On this beautiful note and beautiful explanation, I thank you, Sheikh Hayder Shirazi, for sharing all this knowledge with us. And inshallah, we will continue the discussion next week. Thank you very much, dear viewers, for staying with us and for your attentive listening. Join us again next week for the continuation of the discussion. Until then, stay safe. Fi amanillah.